Leslie, our founder of Finding. Okay.
Finding Space.
Okay, very good. Alright, we're back and thank you so much, Leslie, for that amazing feed. Head chef duties, well done.
Welcome, mate.
I can tell someone really cleaned up those pork chops really well. Right now, definitely feeling very full and nourished after that feed. And I think we talked to a lot of points, especially around your business for Finding Space and mentorship. And I think right now it's a really good time for us to really go through it, especially considering for me how important that has been for what I do now, especially how we connected. So at a high level, how did we start working together? 9 years working in the corporate world for me. And a lot of those years was working with you side by side or thereabouts together. And I think that's definitely where we first connected. And it was more at that level of colleague, co-worker type level. After talking, going experiencing, chats after work or in between, having lunches, there was that friendship piece, 100%. That's what we got. Especially where I was coming from, we really connected on sharing similar maybe ideas and thoughts at a high level. And I think for me I felt young, looked up to some of the knowledge and experience that you had around the way you held yourself, the way you held yourself in meetings, for example, being one part. So, that's something that I'd like to understand and know and get information from, and that's where we started talking more outside of just being a friendship. And then when we developed further into it, it's interesting, and especially where I am now, we talked about why is being able to talk in a meeting, for example, important to me. And I'm like, okay, it's because it's good for my job and and stuff like that. And then I found for you being my mentor and working with Finding Space, there's more direction around is that goal, why you want to do what you want to do, or the ability means and ends, or is it something more important, or is there something more that you can work towards? So I think for me that's where once the friendship started, and we still are great friends, mentorship was like, I wanted this specific skill because I saw it in you. I wanted to learn that from you.
Yeah.
And then where it actually ends up and where we are now, many years later, it's around definitely accountability. I realise every time we're catching up and talking on certain things that I said I was going to do, which is for my benefit, whether I've done it or not. And then two, still do give me a lot of guidance and help around where I want to be. And I feel like definitely gotten a lot better at that. But for me personally, I found a lot of value to have you not only as my friend, but someone to help with the direction. So that's what mentoring is for me, mentorship. But I know it's your business, your world. What do you feel Finding Space means, being a founder, and what's it all about?
Absolutely. So, like you said, mate, you touched on a lot of the aspects of what mentorship is and the philosophy around Finding Space. So, mentorship as a general sense, like to me, and what I see it as, like we touched on it a little bit at the start in terms of these well-being foundations, right? And they're usually well looked at holistically. So, like I said, they're physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. And this is, to me, what I call getting your backyard in order. Once you sort your own backyard out and it's nice and clean and tidy, then the real work starts. And you'll know this through your own experience. I want you to talk to that a little bit more. Yeah. After I go through this explanation. So realistically, holistic well-being is the foundation. It's only the start. Like I called it for you, it's phase 0. Once we clean stuff up, then we've got the launching pad to find purpose, to find passion, and to realistically find truth, inner truth for ourselves. What is it that is truly important to us? And that's the philosophy of Finding Space. I use a lot of methods and tools to find space. And what does that mean? There's a lot of noise out in the world today. It's very busy. There's a lot of news. There's a lot of opinion. Yeah. But for us, to find truth and clarity, we must first find space.
Yeah.
You know? Then we can discern between what is real and what is conditioned, you know.
Yeah.
And then from there, you know, essentially the role of a mentor is to continue to hold up that torch and say, you know, it seems like from a different perspective that you want to head in this way, but your actions, you know, they say otherwise.
Yeah.
You know? And like, you know, to me, it's something that is, you know, critical in all walks of life, in all aspects of life. I myself, I still have a mentor, you know, and you have a mentor, which is me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that for me is mentorship. It's so much more than just about, you know, looking after your well-being. That's you know, absolutely key. It's foundational, but that's all it is. It's a solid foundation for us to grow from, to then, you know, flourish and sprout into, you know, the truth of who we, you know, really are.
Yeah.
You know, at the heart of things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd love you to, like, you know, to talk more about your own experience in that, man.
Well, I think really hit home 2 points were cleaning the backyard and ground zero. I know exactly what you're talking about there. It's a sense of, for me, cleaning up my backyard was cleaning up my mindset potentially and the thoughts that I had on what it meant to be, for example, successful, what purpose of my being was around work and lifestyle, even sometimes about monetary, you know, there's things that you need to consider there. And one big one, especially now, where we met was in the corporate world, and I've talked to it a few times, and where I am now 9 years later is transitioning to health and well-being, because I've made that decision of, you know, is my purpose to be working in a finance or corporate world. And I think you said, and I don't want to give away too much of your methods to your madness, but one of the great points you made is, you know, I was really holding on to this title, this role that I've worked hard for to get for, let's say, 6 years, by the time we started working, 6 or 7 years, and I was like, I've just worked really, really hard, diligent worker, did the hours to get to this position, and now I'm questioning whether it is important. And then you preface it with, okay, when you were young, did you say you wanted to grow up to be in finance and corporate world, working super time? And I know, like, at the time I was like, what, you know, this, that and the other. You know, as I grew up, there were things that I told I should be doing for security and safety. And I don't want to give away too much of your methods as well, but that really gave me catalyst to go, okay, if that wasn't what I said I wanted to do when I was younger, what was it? And then how to work closer towards that. And that ground zero was like, okay, understanding that and then working towards it from building from that. So I have transitioned, I'm working with different people at the minute, and I'm in a headspace that's completely different. But again, just because I've gotten there doesn't mean that now I try and lead it by myself. That's why I find mentorship is so important. And as I talk to my friends around things that are happening with me, I always, you know, say that, you know, some of the things that are coming from how we work together. And I think that's where I find it funny that a lot of people, one, don't understand what mentorship means, or they have heard it and don't understand where to go to find it.
Yeah.
And I think if you could probably clarify it, because they're two really tough things as well.
Totally.
Because without a relationship that I had with you, I would probably maybe in the same position of not knowing where or what it is. And I may have even been still in the same position that I was
for sure.
previously, which isn't a bad thing either. You know, don't get me wrong, the role I enjoyed, everything like that.
Yeah.
But where I am now is completely different, and the way I think is different.
Totally. So, I mean, it's a very good point. And if you think about mentorship and what I mentioned before, like I myself, I am a mentor, but I also am a mentee. I have a mentor myself, and it's very important that you, for me, this is my opinion, that you have one throughout your life. Because what does it do? It gives you an alternate perspective always. It's a different set of eyes looking at the same problem, right? And if you think about, you know, life in general and how you perceive things, you're always looking through your own eyes and the beliefs that you have. But how do you change that, or, you know, have a different perspective if you're only looking through your own eyes that you've been used to for as long as you've known,
Yeah.
right? And like, I think that's something that not a lot of people think about. And you think about our relationship, and you described it nicely in terms of how it evolved, right? We had a mentor-mentee relationship in a professional setting, in the corporate world first, right?
Yeah.
And this was all about, corporate growth, climbing that ladder.
Yeah, because I remember the position that you had was a great position, and I'm like, oh, they're the skills that I want, because I want to be in that similar role like this.
Yeah, but like all of the mentoring relationships that I've had in that context, when you peel back those layers, of wanting to achieve something or succeed in the corporate space, there's always something else behind it. There's a human element to it, right? We're all humans, we're not robots, and we don't want to achieve and strive for the same things because we've experienced different things in life, right? And that's the difference. Like, once you start to unpack that and think, why is it that I want to climb the corporate ladder? Maybe it's to get a more successful job. But why is it that I want to do that? Because someone told me that's good, but isn't necessarily something that you want to do. It may or may not be, right? And it's about really unpacking that and just looking through your life, seeing it through a different lens, and really unpacking that. And like I said, it's a daunting thought for a lot of people at the start. Like you said, you've heard about mentorship, but what is it really? And like, there are a lot of traps, like any industry.
Yeah.
Like trying to trick you into X, Y, and Z and the other, right? And I understand that as well. That's why I don't call myself a life coach. It's really a different thing to me, right? Yeah. Mentorship is just about trust and honesty.
Yeah.
And like you said, accountability. Being very firm and honest with you, and not sugarcoating anything, and telling you what you want to hear, but actually what you need to hear.
Yeah.
And this in itself is a choice of the individual. Seeking the help of a mentor.
Yeah.
How I describe it is, you might feel okay in what you're doing. Like you said, you describe it, the job that you had, you enjoyed it. You really enjoyed it, and it was a good job, it paid well, and it ticked all the boxes in terms of, traditional societal success. It was the same with me. But then you ask yourself the question, are you fulfilled? Does it bring you contentment in life? There are other things that you love more than going into, the corporate office, clocking on 9 to 5. So those are the questions you've got to ask yourself. And if you feel there is something more for you, and you have asked yourself the questions, there must be more to life than this, then perhaps external guidance through mentorship is something that could assist you in bringing clarity to your direction in life.
I think you summarized that pretty well, and everything that we've discussed, even from the start of today, around holistic health, nutrition being one of the foundations, physicality around training programs and stuff like that, and then spirituality and this mentorship thing. So I think there's a lot we've gone through today, a lot for everyone probably to digest, not only food but the information. So I think from here, that's what the role for me in soul training is, connecting people to the right sources that they need. And you said trust, authenticity. This is why I want to work with you. This is why I'm with you. It's because that trust there. And I know it's value for anyone else that may have resonated with you as it did with me. I think they should reach out and start a conversation, for example.
Absolutely.
Myself and Leslie for Finding Space. So, thank you so much for today. It's been an honour as always. And
my pleasure.
Looking forward to a little bit more work together. Looking forward to awesome. Now, do you have any handles or anything where people can reach you?
Yeah, mate. So people can find me on my website, findingspace.co, and also Facebook and Instagram. My handle is @findingspace.co. So any of those platforms, just reach out and say good day.
Awesome. And all for my links, I'm going to keep down at the bottom, as well as that ebook that we worked on together. There's more recipe and more in detail information around the 3 pillars that we talked to. So looking forward to the next episode. Thanks team.
Peace.
Very good.